Hate Apollo and Podcast Network presents Rookie Revelation, the podcast for NFL fans who don't just follow the game, but they understand it at a deeper level. The insider's guide to the NFL draft, team building, and uncovering the hidden gems that could transform the league. Spot the stars before they shine. Rookie Revelation is your draft day edge. Join Jonathan and CJ as they present Rookie Revelation.
What is up, football heads, and welcome to the first edition of the Rookie Revelation. My name is CJ alongside Jonathan, your godfathers of Hate to Pile On, your daddies, your stepdaddies, your co-founders. This is our element. You know, we be dibbling, dabbling everywhere else, but today, we're back to our bread and butter. We're talking NFL draft. We're talking team building. And so we're starting this episode off with breaking down the AFC South. And we're going team by team, breaking it down, giving you guys how we feeling. We're giving grades. We're going deep dive into it. So for you football heads, this is for you. Let us know what you guys think about this podcast episode on our social medias at Hate to Pile On. But before we get too crazy into it, Jonathan, man, how you doing today?
Exceptionally well, CJ. How are you doing?
Man, I'm excited, man. It's time to flip that mode. It's weird because I'm so used to being right into getting into draft mode because my team normally stinks.
I'm on the field.
Which, if you guys don't know, and if this is your first time listening to us, thank you. Appreciate you. I hope you guys enjoy this content. I am a Washington Commanders fan, born in D.C., but raised in the South, the dirty, dirty South. So I have my allegiance to mostly Washington, D.C. sports teams, mostly. My influence in college football came from when I moved down to the dirty South, and I'm a Georgia fan, Georgia college football team. And that is my origin story. Jonathan, what about you?
I was born in the South as well, so my allegiance was mostly to the South. My mother is from Michigan, so I have some family from Michigan, so I do have a little bit of Michigan influence as well. But mostly from the South. Carolina Panthers, Clemson Tigers, a little bit of Michigan Wolverines sprinkled in. And I'm not a Lions fan, but I like the Lions, especially this year. Like, they're fun to root for.
Last couple years, really.
Yeah, last couple of years.
Especially this year, but this year they're just such a I saw someone project a Detroit Buffalo Super Bowl, which is funny because that's two teams notoriously known for choking in the big game. So it's one, that'll be Detroit Lions' first ever Super Bowl appearance. And then for the Buffalo Bills, I don't think the Buffalo Bills still hasn't won a Super Bowl ever in their both teams haven't won a Super Bowl ever. Lions have never been to a Super Bowl. The Bills lost 4 straight Super Bowls in a row historically. So, that would be a great story, a great storyline, but it's not the story that we care about. The story that we care about is the Washington Commanders winning the Super Bowl this year over the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, brother.
But I digress. Okay, so we're starting with the Houston Texans, and we're gonna break down each team. And Jonathan, you want to tell everybody how we're going to be breaking this down?
Okay, we're going to be breaking down. We're going to first do league or division by division, team by team. So we're starting with the AFC South tonight, and we're going to start with the winners of that, the Houston Texans, and we're going to be breaking it down into the grades for each position. We're going to break down the starter and then the depth, and then give them a grade for each position. We're also going to talk about the draft capital each team has, the coaching staff, and the GM and front office, the overall talent they have. And then we'll also talk about the free agents they have. And after that, we'll give them an overall grade heading into 2025.
Yes. And so what we want to do is we really kind of want to take this really step by step, similar to what a GM would do. I think we're fans first, but we like to consider ourselves higher level thinking fans of just want to go a little bit further, deeper dive. We love behind the curtains into the weeds. And so we've been doing, I mean, as us, we've been doing draft stuff since 2020, at least for me. Jonathan, you got me into like hardcore doing draft stuff. Like I would like, oh yeah, I definitely want this guy. But I didn't, as a whole of looking at all the prospects and deep diving each year, like watching tape on a lot of different guys, like until around that time. And 2021 was like, we did our first big mock draft together. And pretty good. We did a pretty good job on our round one mock draft. I think that's something that I think we could always tout as like our best year of accuracy for year one. We did it. And, you know, each year it's been kind of like hit or miss for sure because the drafts have been not as so predictable. But we're going to do that at the end of our cycle of this podcast. We're going to be doing a lot of mock drafts, first round mocks, and then 7-round mocks for teams as well. But we're going to start it off by breaking down each team, grading each position, figuring out their needs and wants. So as we go through free agency, as we go through the combine, as we go through the Senior Bowl, and all of that, we'll
Pro days.
Pro days, exactly. So we'll have all that information, and we'll just kind of go pretty much similar to what a GM does in the front office. So you kind of get that vibe from it. We don't have that experience, but we follow the NFL closely enough. Yeah, that is true. The goal is to be at the Senior Bowl and to be at the combine. So we want to be there live and break down tape and break down prospects that we really like and interview prospects. That'll be the goal this year.
Yes, sir.
Sure. Okay,
Definitely.
so let's get it crack-a-lacking. All right, so obviously the 3 most important roles and positions for each team that you have to nail, you have to at least get semi-right, is the head coach, the GM, and the quarterback. And if you get all 3 of those aligned as best as possible, you're going to have a lot of success, as we see with the Washington Commanders. I'm just going to keep using my Washington Commanders but I'm just super happy of that, like seeing a 1-year rebuild from a team that went 4 wins to a team that is 12 wins. Like there's a lot of teams that got a lot of wins this year.
Didn't y'all do the same thing with Ron Rivera in his first year though? And then
we never won anything more than 7 games. We've never won more than 7 games in the season.
Didn't you win your division?
We won our division at 6-10.
Hey, so won your division, went to the playoffs, and then what happened after that?
We played the exact same because we never got better. We got 1 game better. We had a 1-game difference, and then we just went below there. But that's because we didn't have the GM right, the head coach right, or the quarterback right.
That's because you didn't listen to Matt Rule. It's a 7-year process.
Or ahead of schedule. Speaking of ahead of schedule, the Houston Texans, again, a team that was kind of going through a lot of ups and downs, rockiness, firing their coaches, David Cawley and then Lovie Smith, back-to-back years, then to finally land on DeMeco Ryan as their head coach, and they went 10-6 his first year and won a playoff game. But one of the big things, one of the reasons why they were able to do that is they got the quarterback right. And C.J. Stroud, rookie of the year, just dynamic player. I mean, he gradually got better throughout that year and was electric and was on fire. What would you grade C.J. Stroud after this past year? C.J. Stroud's taken a little bit of a step back, not as dynamic, but also you have to factor in they have had injuries along the offensive line. They have a lot of different offensive line combinations, and also they've had their top receivers, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, all go down with injuries as well.
Nico Collins missed some time as well.
Yeah, he did miss time as well.
So coming off his rookie year, I would say an A to an A+. After this year, I would say he did take a step back, but like you said, it's not just on him. There was factors around him. But I would say maybe C+.
Oh, okay. I was leaning a B coming into that. So I'm cool with settling with the C+ there. C+ for CHR. Because, yeah, he has stepped back. I mean, it's one to do with, obviously, inconsistencies with your offensive line and receivers. But then also, like, I think he kind of lost a little bit of confidence. We're recording this before the first round of the playoffs. So like we're saying all of this, and he's probably he's probably gonna go out week, the wild card weekend and just go crazy. So, but okay, quarterback. I like that. C plus. That's fine. I think that's fair. That's a fair grade. I mean, that
I
average
would
out
say
to
that's what his grade was this year. But if we're looking forward to what I expect from him next year, I would say like B plus.
yeah.
So
I
how do
agree.
we want to do this? Do we want to do this grade based on this year, or are we projecting?
Let's just based off of this year, and then
Okay.
so that way we know where they were at last year. Because I think everything is what have you done for me lately, right? So
Yeah.
and that's how you get in trouble as a GM and as a team. You still remember the glory days, Cam Newton, and you just think that they can
Relax.
you can still just take them to the destined land, But a lot of times it's like, hey, that was 10 years ago. So, but anyways, running back, I think Joe Mixon has to be an A. Joe Mixon he's turned back the clock and has been so dominant for this Texans team, establishing a run game that was very needed for them, which is, I think this is the main reason that kind of helped this team not fall off as much as it did last year, because they didn't have a sustainable run game last year. I mean, with David Pierce, who we thought was going to be a guy his rookie year, and then he just took a step off of a ledge and just kind of fell down. But he had a pretty solid game week 17 when they were kind of resting guys, but he just hasn't been consistent. I mean, that's probably one of the main reasons they went out and got Joe Mixon, which was the trade of offseason. Like, that was a steal.
Yeah. I think Mixon's definitely A. How do we feel about the depth behind him, though? Because they did have Cam Akers.
And they
Akers
traded
is now
Cam
in
Akers back to the
Minnesota.
Vikings.
So it's just Damian Pierce and Dare Ogunbowale behind him.
Again, it's one of those things where if we're talking depth, if I can spell him and just give him a breather, and David Pierce can go in, and Dare can come in, and because I think Dare is a pretty solid guy. Like, I think he has some juice. I like his running style, but because David was a starter. He was a starter the year before. So it's like, in theory, you got two running back starter, but I just don't know how good he is. So like, I would say the depth is probably like a C, I would say. But it averages out to like a running back room of a B because of how strong Joe Mixon has been this year.
You want to go B or B plus?
I say B plus because he really was really excellent. Like,
he has been cooking.
So yeah, B plus. We're gonna go for the running backs, mostly because Joe Mixon is a guy. Wide receivers. I mean, before the season, I would say wide receiver room was an A. Like, the talent they had, I was super excited for. And they were really deep because they had a lot of guys with experience on that roster. But I mean, injuries have really just kind of destroyed this team. But so as of now, at the end of the season, because Stephon Diggs is only going to be on a 1-year deal, not going to be back. He was playing pretty well for them early on. So on the roster currently, they have Nico Collins, John Mechie, Bobby Trees, Robert Woods. They have Xavier Hutchinson, second-year player. They claimed Deontay Johnson for their playoff run. Whether they can get something out of him with his third team in the last 2 months remains to be seen. I think Nico Collins is special. He is special. I can see it in his eyes. Tank.
That boy is a dog.
Absolute dog. Tank Dell, it hurts my soul because back-to-back years of devastating knee and leg injuries, lower leg with the ankle, with the fractured ankle, and then this year, a total knee, like, blew out its entire knee. Dislocated kneecap, every ligament torn. I hope he can make a return back to the league. That's going to be that's going to be tough. Like, that's like a 2-year injury, like, at least,
Yeah, he's probably out all of 2025.
So, that's heartbreaking. I'm a big fan of John Mechie. Obviously, Mechie, lost his rookie year due to being diagnosed with cancer, and he made his way back. I believe this is year 3 for Mechie. So, obviously how do you recover from that? Like, how do you, who do you, what kind of player is he since then, He now has more opportunity. I think he was definitely more buried on the depth chart previously. I don't love it. Like, I want to see more from him. I'm hoping he can be more, but I don't know if this is his ceiling. But I think he has the talent, the speed, a good route runner. Bobby Trees is old, but he's a savvy veteran. Deontay Johnson, again, a good route runner. You guys were excited for him in Carolina, but
he was good in Carolina.
I just don't know. Like, I think he could be a difference maker with CJ. I think CJ can. I think he speaks the gospel to receivers, and he gets the most out of them. So I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna say C+ for this receiver room, and that's probably being a little generous.
I think so, just based off the strength of Nico.
Yeah. Obviously, if they were full strength, it'll probably be borderline A with Stephon Diggs and Nico alone. Those are two. That's A. That's a wide receiver 1 and 1B.
Yeah, I think with those two being out, Mechie hasn't proven anything. Deontay Johnson is on his 3rd team of the year. Robert Woods hasn't done anything in 2 years now, 3 years maybe. I think a C+ for the group as a collective is fair.
Yeah. A good starter. So starter for sure grade is like A. I think he's been performing at a Pro Bowl level. But depth is probably like C-. So that's a solid average out.
I think so.
Okay, so now moving on to the offensive line. The offensive line.
We're skipping tight end?
Oh, yeah. Did I skip tight end? Oh, I sure did skip tight end. You know what it is? I saw it was filled in already, so I was like, no, it's fine. So Dalton Schultz I like Dalton Schultz as a guy. He's a good 3rd down target. He definitely helps ease a lot of the pain for not losing out a lot of those secondary receivers on this team. Case Stover is kind of starting to emerge later in the season, which is being pretty good for them. So they can kind of run a little bit more 2 tight end sets and help, obviously for running the ball with Mixon, but also, slipping Cade out into coverage, out into the field. It's a solid tight end room. I'm not going to say it's special because I think Dalton Schultz has the potential to be really good, like a top 10. I'm trying to think because tight end position is so weird. Dalton Schultz probably is a top 10 tight end, huh? Would you put him in the top 10? So, yeah, I will give this tight end room, would I say a C? I think a C is fine. C. I think C is fine. It's nothing special.
Yeah, the C or B?
I think B's a little too high. Just because I think the tangent that we just had about tight ends, it opened my eyes that he's not top 10. So I think top 10 is like B+, B range. And then anything outside the top 15, you're probably like a C.
So you want to go C or C+?
Let's go C. Let's go C. I'm going to be a little stern with my my grades.
Okay. So C.
Yeah.
Now we got the O-line.
Offensive line. So again, one of the biggest people, but Laramie Tunsil has been good for a while. He just re-upped. He is 30. No, is he 30? Where's his age? 30. He's 30.
They got Titus Howard, who they had to move to left guard because their guards stink.
Yeah, because I thought Kenyon Green was going to be good.
And he has not been.
He is not good.
He's their third string left guard right now, behind their right tackle, who they had to move to left guard because Kenyon Green was so bad.
Yes, let's see. They got Shaq Mason at right. He's
Jared
31, so he's a little older. And then Blake Fisher, who I think from Notre Dame, I think that was last year, this past year,
Yeah,
2024.
I'm
Right?
pretty sure he's a rookie.
Yeah, second round pick, 6'6" guy. I don't have my grade of him, but that's good. At least they have a young. This offensive line is definitely older. Okay, Jared Patterson is 25, so he's 2 years. So you
Titus
got
Howard's probably like
Fisher.
26, 27.
Oh, is he? Is he that? He's 28.
Yeah.
So you got two guys in their 30s, one guy later 20s, and so there you got three guys that should be in their prime and two younger guys they're hoping to bring along. So it's solid. It's not the best. I mean, they're doing good with the run game. They could be better. I'll give them like a solid I'll give them a C plus offensive line, maybe C. I think they can definitely.
We'll give him a C.
I think they could be better in the interior. I think definitely interior guard might have to be the move.
Yeah, because I think Shaq Mason's been falling off since he left the Bucks.
Yeah.
Well, really since he left the Patriots, but he was still solid with the Bucks, and then I think he's fallen off with the Texans. I feel like
For sure the interior. I mean, they're still able to open up, running lanes, but they also they run a lot of zone. So, with zone, as long as you can get those stretch plays out there, you can just get these running backs, Joe Mixon, just to go downhill. So, all right, so we got offensive line. So we got the offensive side of the ball done. Now let's move over to the defensive side and let's go D-line. Oh, defensive line. Oh, my gosh. They got my guy, Tim Settle. Wait, I didn't know Tim Settle. Actually, Tim Settle's having a really good year.
yeah, he's a backup for them. He doesn't even start.
He might be starting now. I got him on ESPN. They got him in the starting lineup.
I checked their depth chart from HoustonTexans.com. They got him as a backup.
Do they update that though?
That was for week 17.
Okay.
So on
ESPN they got him in the starting lineup, and he's had 24 tackles and 5 sacks this year, which is I want to say is his career high for a year.
This one was updated yesterday.
Okay.
The one on their website. They got Mario Edwards and Folu Fatukasi starting.
Mario Edwards Jr. Let me look at his career stats. Yeah. Actually, it ties his career high. He had 5 sacks in 2020 for Washington Commanders. And then when he was with Buffalo, he only had 1 sack each. I like Tim Settle. I think Tim Settle's a really good nose tackle. I think he's pretty solid in rotation. I don't think he's a starter, but I thought he played great when he spelled Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen, and he was mixed in there. I really like his game a lot. And he's still 27. He's 27, dude. This man's been in the league for 7 years. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this is year 7. He's 27. So having a good year. I got to look at his contract status a little bit in a second and see if he's under contract, but they're definitely he's under contract next year for $4 million. So his contract runs through next year. So that's good for the Texans. Yeah, I like Tim Settle. He's having a good year. Obviously a little Commanders bias. Their ends are insane. Their ends are insane. Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. Love those guys. Will Anderson Jr. got 11 sacks this past year.
Pretty good. I'm pretty sure Daniil Hunter has at least 10 also.
He has 12. So 23 sacks between the two ends. Mm-hmm. Daniil Hunter's just such a professional edge rusher. Dude is just insane. Dude is insane. Danico Autry got 3 sacks from him this year. I don't know how much he's played, though. I think he's been hamstring with the knee injury. So he's kind of been in and out. They got Jerry Hughes at third string And then they also got Derek Barnett, who has 5 sacks for them as well. So they're getting a lot of production from their guys. Like, I mean, this definitely seems to be a team rush effort. I don't even know how to say this. Fatakasu?
Folorenzo Fatukasi.
16 tackles, 1 sack. Definitely looks like a run stopper, a guy who's going to fill the lanes. Which is it's crazy because that's something I feel like Tim Settle was definitely a guy for that's just kind of like, fill a gap and stop the run. But like he's showing his pass rush upside. So it makes me happy to see that he's getting some pass rush upside. And then Mario Edwards Jr. got 3 sacks for him. So a pretty good front, I'll have to say. I'm probably going B, a strong B. I even want to go B plus. But I think
I want to go B plus or A minus.
I'm okay with that. It's a strong B for me. Like it's strong, like B plus. Like I think their ends. I think they maximized potential from Tim Settle. I think they got good defensive tackles. They got a good rotation, not like anything stellar.
I think they have 2 studs on the edge, 2 good defensive tackles, and they just have real good depth. Like they don't have a weakness. I don't think. Like there's not like.
They can rotate, and that's a very important for the defensive line. They can rotate guys. I would say the depth on the outside is probably. I don't know. Derek Barnett is pretty solid, and D'Amico. Actually, when he's healthy, he's actually a problem.
And they got Jerry Hughes, who if they're just bringing him in for
third down rush, yeah.
How many sacks does he have this year? He probably got
I'm looking
4
up right
still.
now. He has none this year.
No, none this year? Dang.
Yeah, 0.
Okay. Well, he might be washed then. I know he was still good last year.
He might not play. He's only played 5 games this year. So he's been dealing with injuries. So if he's healthy for playoffs, they could really kind of get after the quarterback against the Chargers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to say,
plus?
yeah, I'm okay with B plus.
Okay.
Jerry Hughes is also 36, so they definitely can go younger. Because it's like they got the mix up. They got a veteran with Daniil, who is very much still in his prime. Because he also, like, last few years, hasn't played a ton of football.
He's like 28.
I thought Daniil was 30.
Is he 30?
Let me look at it. Yeah, he's 30.
Okay.
But he's still, because he had like back-to-back years of. I think he didn't play in 2020. And yeah, whatever. All right, so moving on to linebackers. Henry Toto. Ta'atu.
Henry Toto.
Alabama, 54 tackles, 1.5 sack, forced fumble and interception. He's been pretty solid. I think he got drafted, 5th round?
Yeah, he went late.
5th round, pick 167 2 years ago.
Because he transferred from Oregon, I want to say, to Alabama.
Yeah. Then you got the problem child, Azeez Al-Shaair. 45 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Obviously missing the last 3 games of the year. Did he play the last week?
He played the last one. He came back. But who's the other one? Christian Harris?
Oh, yeah. Christian Harris. Yeah, they got him. Oh, yeah. They were in 4-3. Yeah. Christian Harris, Henry, and then Azeez. And then they got Devin White as well, which I think he hasn't been playing much at all. He's played 11 games this year. Or no.
Pretty sure they just
he played all games.
Like
he played all games.
Teams.
Yeah.
Like,
well, just like his downfall, because I think he got picked up because he was started the year with the Eagles.
Yeah.
And then my dog.
Bro, his downfall and Jamal Adams need to be studied.
Yeah. Azeez has been playing really good. Obviously, a little controversial. Christian Harris, let me see his stats. 13 tackles for 1 sack. Their linebackers don't have a ton of tackles, which is kind of concerning, which means that Kalen Bullock he has 37, 5 interceptions.
Yeah. He's a rookie.
Yeah. Georgia. No, he went to USC. I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of the other Bullock that went to Javon. I'm tripping, but he got Lassiter, my guy. Um, yeah, I'm. I don't know. Azir has played he was pretty good this year. I think. I don't know. Depending on whatever you feel about him.
Let's see, backups. They got Neville Hewitt, Jake Hansen, and Devin White. So yeah, I'm gonna give them.
I'm thinking like a C.
Yeah.
Like I think they're getting decent production. I think Aziz has played well this year, and like I think their linebackers played well, but it doesn't seem to be like it feels like system linebackers instead of like a standout linebacker that they have. Yeah. All right. So now going to the secondary, and are we doing? Oh yeah, we broke it up: corners and safeties. Derek Stingley's a dog. Derek Stingley's top 10 corner in the league right now. Do you disagree?
No, he's top 5.
Yeah, he's up there. He's better than Sauce. Jeff Okudah's up there. I didn't realize that. Jeff Okudah.
He doesn't start though.
We got D'Angelo Ross. Oh yeah, dang, I forgot about Jalen Petrie. He's hurt.
But he's a dog.
He is a dog. Look at some pictures even. Is he out for the year? Oh yeah, that was a torn pec. Dang, that was a month ago.
That's tough. Because that brother nice.
Yeah, Jalen Petrie and Jimmy Ward both on IR. So they definitely took a lot of hits to their secondary because I mean their secondary is definitely one of the better secondaries. Is it MJ Stewart or D'Angelo Ross that starts?
MJ Stewart, I think, is the
or Chris Boyd maybe.
I don't know who their slot corner is. I know Lassiter and Stingley are the outside corners, and then Bullock and Eric Murray are the safeties.
Okay. Yeah, I love Lassiter. I mean, obviously, again, my Georgia bias. I think he's really good. Instinctual, 3 interceptions this year. A steal in the second round, to be honest. High football IQ, 10 pass defended this year. Him and Stingley are going to make a really dynamic 3. I think Lassiter might, I think he started the year at the inside at the star position. And I think Petrie was playing. Either between him and Petrie were playing on the other side of Stingley. And either way, that's a nice 3-headed attack at the DB position. And so with the fact of them getting hurt, and then he also had Jimmy Ward, which I think Jimmy Ward might have been playing safety.
Yeah, Jimmy Ward played safety, and I think he plays a little bit of nickel. They got a lot of guys who can play nickel. That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure.
They have a lot of flexibility. Definitely a lot of flexibility. I think Jimmy Ward's like 28, 29 maybe.
He might be 30.
He's 33. I'm tripping. Jeez. So, I mean, their stars are good. They have decent depth at corner, but they could definitely go for another corner, obviously with the fact that Jalen Petrie did get hurt, but like they have 3 really good corners.
Do you want to just make this secondary and I'll break it down in the cornerback second? Or?
Yeah, let's just break it up. Let's just do it together. Let's do it together. I think that makes it easier. You can still do like break him out, like just so you can know who plays safety, but we can just do one grade.
Okay, I got you.
Ooh, it's a 1-point game, USC and Maryland. Here we go. It's a 3-point game.
Merge the cells for them.
Yeah, I love this secondary. I'm going to give them a B+.
A B+, even with their current health.
Yeah, I mean, you got a top 5. You got a top 5 corner and a guy who's probably Lassiter is he's a top 5 rookie. You know what I mean? Because like that's the thing too. Like I think if they're healthy, they're an A+ secondary.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
They're really good. They just got to get, honestly, their middle of their defense is really kind of their weakness. And they're like, like the defensive tackles and linebackers, I think you get a little bit like another, I'm not saying they're bad because I think they're still young. They got some young guys still, but they're more of a unit versus like star players. But they got star players out in the secondary and the edges, which is kind of what you want. That's kind of exactly what you want, to be honest.
Yeah. So what we say for them, a B?
I say B+.
B+, okay.
All right. Okay, so now let's look at the draft capital. As of right now, they will be past the 20th position, so you can't really know. But let's see, draft picks.
Playoff team.
Yeah, playoff team, and the Texans have.
How many teams make the playoffs? 20?
19 people miss the playoffs, and then I think it's like 14 make the playoffs. I think
14 or is it 12?
I think there's 7 playoff spots each side.
Let me pull up so 14 make it, 18 don't.
Yeah.
So the worst they could do is 18.
Okay, so the Texans have 6 draft picks in 2025.
Do they have their second round pick?
They have their first round pick, second round pick, third round pick, fourth round pick, fifth round pick from Buffalo, and a 7th. So they have every pick except for their 6th. But I don't know if they might have. I don't know if this is old. This is from April. Let me see. Well, ESPN hasn't updated it. Crazy.
Okay, so if they have like a pick in the 20s and they have their second, third, fourth, and fifth, no 6th and a 7th, what do you want to give that? Like a C for draft capital?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. Like, I mean, again, like when you're a playoff team, you really don't need a lot. Obviously, you want to fortify some positions, and you're going to find some good talent later on. But then it's one of those things if like you have to be really strategic about exactly what you want, because like being in that later end, you can try to make the run on a position group that doesn't have, I guess, the best depth, you know. But it's like C. Yeah.
All right. So we got draft capital, coaching staff. They got D'Amico.
D'Amico, I think, has done an outstanding job with this team.
Do they have a defensive coordinator, or is it D'Amico?
1 second. Matt Burke.
The center from the Ravens?
He is 48. He was the defensive line coach for the Cardinals before he took this job. He was a game management person for the Jets. He was a defensive coordinator for the Dolphins in 17 and 18. So around I wouldn't say that's was that before Brian Flores? Probably before Brian Flores, because Brian Flores probably was the defensive coordinator. But yeah, he's been defensive coordinator for the last 2 years for them.
Yeah, he used to play center for the Ravens.
Oh, nice.
So it's weird that he's a defensive coach now.
He was the defensive coordinator for Adam Gase. He was the defensive line coach for Cliff Kingsbury. He was the linebackers coach for Marvin Lewis, defensive assistant for Doug Peterson, game management for Robert Salah, linebackers coach for Jim Swartz, and he was an administrative assistant, defensive quality control for Jeff Fisher. So,
sheesh.
Shout out to Pro Football Reference. They have all the data for us. I would say, yeah, D'Amico's really good. I think what he's done with this team is leadership and to really kind of get this roster going and just have an identity and push them and, especially under the constraints of being the Texans head coach. Because, I mean, previously before he got hired, I mean, it felt like it was a one and done thing to where, a lot of these guys were getting fired after 1 year. And unless, whatever reason, obviously there were older coaches who got fired and, D'Amico was one of the hot young names out there. So maybe they gave him a little bit of a resurgence. You got Bobby Slowick, who was obviously after 1 year was one of the hottest names for head coaching positions. Definitely cooled off this year, but comes from the tree, the Mike Shanahan tree, West Coast offense. I think the offense is still pretty good. They also have Bill Lazor as a senior offensive assistant. And then, Matt Burke is the defensive coordinator. All in all, I think Bobby Slowick and D'Amico definitely make this coaching staff strong. Obviously, because they're both young. They're all young, which is good upside. And what they've been able to do in the 2 years, I mean, winning 20 games. I'm pretty sure they're 20-14 in its first 2 years. Pretty good. Yeah, I would say this is a solid B. Like, I would have given him I would give him like a B because that feels low.
B plus.
B plus for sure because they're a playoff team and they won the conference back-to-back years.
I also feel like Bobby Slowick, if they do turn it around on offense next year, he's not going to be there for much longer. So I feel like you don't want to put too much stock in him being there because he could be gone.
Right. And yeah, exactly. And having your coordinators who are names, because it's like one of those weird things to having if your coordinator is not good, you know what I mean? Like, not saying not good, but because Spagnuolo should be getting head coaching opportunities, but I don't know if he wants them. But he's a top tier defensive coordinator.
He does, but he's like 60 something, like close to 70, I want to say. So teams don't want to hire him.
But I mean, Pete Carroll was 70, coaching the Seahawks.
Won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he was like 68 when they hired him.
He was also one of the most successful college football coaches.
Yeah, but Spag is one of the most successful defensive coordinators. He's won Super Bowls.
As a defensive coordinator, not as a head coach. As a head coach,
which is fair. But he's also he took you see him do it both. I think what his job is taking I would say a shitty defense, but the Chiefs' defense was always not the best, and it was always kind of chugged along by the offense. But last year, the way they won that Super Bowl with a young, hungry defense, where I thought they was going to take a step back because they went more younger on the defense side of the ball, but they were really good. They hit on Trent McDuffie, and they hit on what's the linebacker, Nick Bolton. They got some demons. Joshua Williams, shout out to him. He's one of our draft crushes. Not Eric Reed. Is it Eric Reed? The safety?
Justin Reed.
Is
he still there?
I thought so.
We'll get to them when we do the AFC West.
But yeah, I would say B plus. I mean, I think you have to be at least a B to be being a back-to-back playoff. They've only made the playoffs every year. That might be an A. They might be an A, but they might be an A. Because back-to-back years winning the playoffs, 10-win seasons, so they haven't won anything less than 10 wins. You can also say that, Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. Neither has D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What do you think?
I think we'll give him A minus.
Okay, that's fair. That's splitting the difference. I respect it.
In their front office, they got Nick Caserio.
I hated Nick Caserio to start off with.
Well, that's because they still had what's his name in there too with him, who wasn't letting him cook. From the Patriots.
The pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. Which is it's fair. I mean, and the thing is, he was but the thing is too, he was also one of the right hand men with Bill Belichick.
Yeah. What do we want to give Caserio?
I think Casario has done a good, like the last two drafts has been really good for the Texans. Looking right now, we have from this past draft, looking at guys who contribute. You got Kamari Lassiter. I think that was a home. They didn't even have his first round pick, so they're still dealing with not having a first round pick. Wait, I'm tripping. But they traded their first round pick for, or did they trade back? I don't know. But Kamari Lassiter in the second round, and also Blake Fisher in the second round. Both starters playing pretty good. They also got Kalen Bullock, who's playing minutes for them as well. So the first three picks, and then Cade Stover, the fourth round pick, who's their backup tight end, who's starting to emerge. So their first four picks are contributing to the team. Is pretty good. And then going back to 2023, obviously 2023 was electric. CJ Stroud,
Will Anderson,
and Will Anderson being aggressive, going back-to-back picks. I think those two alone. Tank Dell was looking up, but obviously injuries have just kind of derailed him. Henry Teoto, he is a starter. Jarrett Patterson, I think, is starting for them. So
starting at center, yeah.
Well, hoping Xavier Hutchinson is to maybe break out. He could be like a late breakout, like similar to Nico Collins type. But I mean, that's 1, 2. I mean, Tank Dell was a starter before he got hurt. So that's 3. Henry, that's 4. That's 5. I guess Hutch is starting now, but that's 5 starters from 2023. And then 1, 2, 3. For sure, 3 starters and 4 contributors in this past draft. So that's a pretty good hit rate.
So
that's like half. That's like half of your. That's a solid. I mean, when you find your quarterback, that's a home run. When you find your quarterback, that's a home run. B plus.
B plus or A minus?
A minus.
He's kind of been cooking.
A minus, because you can't, like, Lassiter last year, like their first picks have been really good. Lassiter's a dog, literally and figuratively, and CJ Stroud's a dog. Will Anderson's a dog. Did they have offense and defensive rookie of the year last year? So yeah, I mean, that might just be an A. I might just give him an A. He's done a really good job the last 2 years. In that bubble, in the 2-year bubble. Okay. We'll make that a caveat.
All right. And then we got overall talent.
There's a lot of good talent on this team. I think the talent is probably a B plus. Obviously, the spine of this team definitely can be strengthened. I mean, if you're talking talent that's on the IR and active, it's probably closer to A minus. Obviously, winning 10-win seasons, like, you got to have a lot of talent on this team. So I would say B plus, and that's factoring. That's an adjusted score with the injuries.
Fair. I think that's fair. Then we got free agents. I think Stephon Diggs is a big one.
Stephon Diggs is a big one. Does he re-sign? And I think he's probably, but he could be cheap. Like, okay, they will have to hit again on the draft. And could you imagine they get like I like this receiver class, so they definitely, receiver is a need for this team.
If they get Emeka Egbuka, I'd be sick.
He's not making it past the Commanders. Well, it depends where we pick. It depends.
They could be picking ahead of you.
That's true. You know what? Right. They are going to pick ahead of us.
Even if you both lose first round, they'd pick ahead of you because they have a worse record.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think he resigns, because especially with the fact that, like, they had, like, he still has money. He still has a $16 million cap hit next year. So, you know, I'm not paying $16 million for a guy who's coming off ACL. So, yeah. I'll try to think of any notable. I mean, Joe Mixon's still on the contract until 2027, so that's big. Obviously, you still got Will Anderson and CJ. Like, Will Anderson and CJ Stroud is going to destroy their cap in a couple of years next year. And then Derek Stingley's due. Oh, wait, no. 2027, its contract's up.
Yeah, he's the 5th-year option still. I think this is only year 3 for him.
Which, I mean, his window opens up. Yeah. So, I mean, you can think about this. You got Stingley, Will Anderson, and CJ Stroud, the next 3 to be up for money. And then, Nico Collins just signed, so that's helpful. And you signed him good, just enough to where you got a nice little team discount. I mean, he might, depending on how he's going to feel after this year, he might just decide to, act up and, sit out if he wants to re-up for his money, because he is top 10 receiver money. He should definitely get.
Let's see, Diggs, Deontay Johnson, Jeff Okudah, Robert Woods, Foley, Fatukasi, Case Keenum, MJ Stewart, Delshon Phillips, Jerry Hughes, Neville Hewitt, Derek Barnett, Eric Murray, Chris Boyd, Mario Edwards, Dare Ogunbowale, John Weeks, Kendrick Green, Devin White, Zach Thomas, Dalton Keene, Kurt Hinish, and Jake Hansen. So basically their entire spine is all free agents.
And I don't even those names. I'm Mario Edwards Jr. probably, but honestly, you could probably get away with this. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, none of those names, I'm yeah, for sure. Because obviously you have to be in cost. I think now the Texans are in a sensitive spot where they have to be cost effective. Because they know big chunks of money are about to come out with these next 3 guys.
So I don't know.
And then, so we're going to talk about our pillars for this team.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, I'm going to give my 4, and then you can give your 4. But off the top of my head, without even looking, CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, Derek Stingley, and Kamari Lassiter.
Ooh, you were close. CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, Derek Stingley, and Nico Collins.
That's fair. That's 2 on each side.
Mm-hmm. Gotta be well-rounded.
Yeah. Fair. Okay. That's fair. All right. That is it for the Houston Texans. Now we'll move on.
And that's a wrap on this episode of Rookie Revelation. Thanks for joining us. And don't forget, rate and leave a review. It helps us bring you even more draft day insights. You got a player you're keeping your eye on, or a draft take you're dying to share? Reach out to us on social media at hate2pylon, or drop an email at hate2pylon@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. But until next time, remember, the future of football starts here. We'll see you next week on the Rookie Revelation. The Rookie Revelation will be televised.